A skier was enjoying his descent when he suddenly noticed something unusual.
You better watch out, you better not die, you better not crash, I'm telling you why, 'cause you told your wife you're at work.
In the distance, a dark figure could be seen peeking out from behind a tree. It's he. Sadly, the footage cuts off abruptly here, leaving whatever might have happened next a complete mystery. A hunter had set up a trail camera deep within the Canadian wilderness, hoping to capture ordinary wildlife on film. Instead, the footage revealed something entirely unexpected. From behind the brush, a towering figure emerges, its massive size impossible to mistake. The creature appears agitated, snapping branches and tossing them aside before disappearing back into the trees. Some argue this might simply be a person in disguise, while others highlight the creature's build and sheer strength. Witnesses estimate it stood nearly 7 feet tall, with a frame far broader than any average human. So what do you think, a staged hoax or real evidence of Bigfoot caught on camera? On June 8, 2018, Danny and his wife went for a hike through a nearby park, recording the scenery along the way.
Did you hear that?
What was it?
What was that?
At first, everything seemed completely normal. But when they reviewed the footage later, something unusual stood out. A dark figure appeared to be watching them from behind a tree. The shape looked broad and carried a distinctly human-like form. Some have suggested it might have been a bear, though sightings in that area are extremely rare. So could this have been something entirely different? Scott Carpenter returned to a secluded section of forest to continue his Bigfoot research. He revisited a stick structure he had built during a previous trip, only to find it had been tampered with.
Yeah, they're getting a little loud. I balanced a stick right here, and I actually put it underneath there, and I'll have to go back and kind of show it on the previous video. But I stuck the stick in there and balanced it, and the balance stick has been pulled out. It's laying on the ground and it's been snapped in two. See where it's been snapped? I don't know where the other half is. There's the lower half. And I've wedged it in there, so I don't think the wind blew it out or snapped it in two.
A single balancing stick, once wedged firmly in place, now lay broken on the ground. One half was nearby, but the other had vanished. Upon inspection, Scott concluded the break didn't resemble damage caused by wind or natural wear. He noted that similar interference structures, altered or dismantled, had been documented in other investigations. As he ventured deeper into the woods, faint rustling and the occasional snap of branches echoed around him. The air felt charged as if something was watching. Then, out of nowhere, he spotted movement.
I saw movement. Something darted behind this tree or darted in this area. Scared the crap out of me. Black. Large. Looked like I saw his trailing arm. See? Or his butt. Of course, there won't be anything here. No sign, no footprints.
Something slipped behind a tree and disappeared into the brush. From a distance, the figure looked large and dark, briefly showing the swing of an arm or the shape of a back before vanishing between the trunks. Rushing to the spot, he found no immediate signs, no visible tracks at first glance.
Alright, it's possible footfall right there. See that? There we go. See, look, this is just barely, you can barely tell it. There it is. Okay, there we go. I'm not a total buffoon. There's a footprint right here. I'll have to dissect it for you because you can barely see it, but I'll show it to you. Right up here is the toes. Right there's the heel mark. That's a big old boy too. Shit. I need a partner. Anyway, excuse the French. Right here's the toes. You see where the earth is disturbed. See, look right here. And stuff. Look there. That's me. See? The toes hit here. The heel dug in here. Foot's right there. I'm not stopping to measure this thing because I'm too freaking spooked. But I'm gonna put my boot's 13 inches long. That's a good 3 inches longer than my boot. So that's a 16, 17 inch track. And like I said, right here's the heel mark. Let me clean this out, maybe you can see it. See it now? I'll try to highlight it. But you can definitely see the toe marks here. He dug his toes in. Right there's his footprint, one of them.
But a short distance ahead, he noticed a distinct impression in the mud. Kneeling, he cleared away debris and examined it closely. The print showed defined toe and heel marks, a deep heel press, and clawed toe digs where the ground had been pushed in. Compared to his own boot, the track was significantly larger. Using his size 13 boot as a reference, he estimated the print to measure around 16 to 17 inches in length. Its depth and clarity suggested considerable weight behind the step. Scott photographed the evidence, highlighting the toe indentations and the pronounced heel depression. Surrounded by broken branches and eerie silence, he felt unsettled. A freshly snapped balancing stick, the fleeting glimpse of a massive dark figure, and a giant footprint in the mud taken together. Scott believed something had indeed passed through those woods that day. Jared spent his birthday alone in a secluded Idaho forest where the roads were shut and he didn't encounter another person all day. That afternoon, he launched his new drone to capture the ridgelines and the stillness of the woods. The initial footage was calm, sweeping shots of trees and deserted paths until something unexpected appeared later in the recording.
Farragut State Park, and I had all the roads were closed, so I was pretty much the only one back there. I hadn't seen any cars coming through. Beautiful views. I hadn't seen anybody or anything until right here, and I'm gonna zoom in here a little bit, slow it down, and you can just see this figure running through. This is in slow motion, and then a little bit later, you'll see it in between the trees, running through at full speed. It's very quick, but
high among the trees near the center of the frame, a dark figure can be seen breaking from cover and sprinting through the woods. It moved upright and quickly weaving between the trunks where no trail existed. There were no other people present, no vehicles, and no sounds nearby to explain it. The movement seemed too large and fast for a bear on all fours, and its upright stride appeared human, except for its size and the way it covered ground. It ran out of view and disappeared into the forest. After thoroughly searching the area, Jared found no trace of what the drone had captured. What he filmed remains unexplained. On May 18th, 2025, a trail camera placed deep within the forest captured something unexpected. The exact location hasn't been disclosed, though. Reports suggest it was somewhere in the United States. In the footage, a tall, ape-like figure can be seen standing among the trees. The most striking feature is its intense eye shine, a reflective glare not seen in humans. Since no ape species are native to the US, the sighting prompts one question: could this be evidence of Bigfoot? A Reddit user, set out to locate a cave in the forests of Middle Tennessee, but stumbled upon something unexpected along the way. In the mud, they spotted a series of unusual impressions. The tracks looked small, almost like a child's, with each toe pressed deeply into the ground, as if whatever made them was gripping the earth while moving forward. Observers noted how strikingly human-like the prints appeared, unlike those typically left by any known animals. While the finding didn't serve as concrete evidence of anything, it sparked significant curiosity. Some even suggested the impressions could belong to a juvenile Bigfoot. While hiking through Provo Canyon, a man was enjoying the stillness of the woods when something unexpected happened.
What the?
From the edge of the trees, a large shadowy figure suddenly emerged, stepping into sight. What's most striking is how the man reacted. He crouched behind a simple split-rail fence for protection. If a towering creature really was there, would that flimsy barrier offer any actual safety? But there were no zoos nearby, and no records of exotic pets in the area. Whatever the figure was, it left witnesses confused and deeply uneasy. A Reddit user was driving deep into the mountains near Whitefish, Montana, close to the edge of his uncle's isolated property, hoping to spot animals like deer or bears. At one point, he pulled over after noticing something that initially looked like a moose or elk partly hidden behind thick vegetation. When the creature turned and locked eyes with him, the entire atmosphere changed. The stare left him unsettled, and stories of local legends, including the Wendigo, came flooding back. A creeping sense of unease set in, and he couldn't shake the feeling that something else might be watching. In the end, what he witnessed remains unexplained. A solo hiker had trekked deep into the wild, enjoying the stillness until he completely lost track of time. After hours of wandering, he arrived at a thick cluster of pine trees when the quiet suddenly shattered. Loud movement echoed from beyond the brush. Something large was pushing its way through. Expecting a bear or another sizable animal, he quickly pulled out his phone to start recording. But what appeared on camera was anything but ordinary, and far more unsettling than he could have anticipated. A man was driving through an area well known for Sasquatch sightings, staying alert for anything out of the ordinary. That's when he noticed a tree sharply bent and wedged behind another, forming an unusual shape deep in the woods. By itself, it might not seem significant, but in a place with a long history of Bigfoot reports, the detail felt noteworthy. Some believe that only Bigfoot could have bent and positioned the tree that way. Others argued it might have simply grown like that over time, since a sudden bend likely would have caused it to break. So what's your opinion? Natural growth or a sign of something else lurking in those woods? While exploring the Pacific Northwest, a family noticed something unusual near the forest's edge. In broad daylight, they caught sight of movement.
Motorcycles. See? Don't move in there. No, there's a motorcycle. See?
I don't see nothing down there. Can't be the motorcycles, honey. There's another sparkle. You see what I'm
What's
saying?
that? What is that?
Tree.
No. You moved it, right? Right there. See it?
Uh-huh.
Look.
There's nobody there. I can't see.
Look. Is it those people?
Can't be.
There's nobody.
Not up in the
down
trees.
there. There's nobody down there no more. See?
A towering figure close to 8 feet tall appeared to move along the tree line, blending into the foliage as it passed. They managed to capture the moment on video, but the distance and the camera's low resolution make it difficult to determine exactly what the footage shows. What they recorded that day remains a mystery. In 2014, while hiking near Lake Ontario, a man heard strange movement coming from the bushes. Curious, he took out his camera to find out what was causing the noise. What he recorded was unsettling, a crouched humanoid figure, partially hidden by the vegetation. It appeared broad, hairy, and hunched, watching from the darkness. Then, as if it realized it was being filmed, the figure quickly slipped back into the forest, disappearing almost immediately. The man never got close enough to see more, leaving only the question, what exactly did he encounter that day in the woods? In May 2019, a fisherman in the U.S. ventured out alone to record a peaceful day by a small stream. The outing seemed calm, still water, quiet air, and nothing appeared unusual while he was filming. But later, during editing, he noticed something he hadn't seen in person. Beyond the tree line, a large dark shape briefly stepped into view before slipping back into the woods. Some viewers dismissed it as a lighting illusion or a passing shadow, while others believed it resembled Bigfoot. What stands out most, however, is a faint white mark in the frame that looks like a face, a detail some say rules out a simple shadow. So what did he actually capture on that stream bank that day? While trekking through New River Gorge in West Virginia, a woman came across a massive rock formation that looked less like a natural feature and more like something deliberately built. From afar, it blended into the surroundings, but up close, the shapes and lines appeared unusually symmetrical. One section even looked like a huge doorway carved into the stone. Even more puzzling were the large, deep impressions across its surface. Some claim it's simply erosion and coincidence, while others believe something enormous might have once existed there. On July 12, 2013, a man shared a chilling video on the Legends Beware channel documenting what started as a typical family trip to Otter Blue Ridge, Georgia. What began as a peaceful outing quickly took an unexpected turn.
Get in the house! Get in the house!
When, while filming the scenery, he noticed something unusual near the tree line. Driven by curiosity, he followed the figure into the woods, hoping for a clearer look. As he got closer, the creature let out a series of disturbing sounds that heightened the tension. Some viewers dismissed the clip as someone in a costume, while others pointed to the creature's size, shape, and movement, suggesting it could be a young Bigfoot. Eventually, someone attempted to approach for a better view, but the encounter ended without a clear conclusion. Was it just a hoax or something much stranger? Charles, a YouTuber known as Son of a Bear, spent the summer living off-grid in the Blue Ridge Mountains. His setup was basic, a tent pitched on a vast 100-acre property. For weeks, everything remained calm and uneventful. But on July 18th, that peace was abruptly broken.
There's one over here. Looks like it's holding some water. I think it's time to go.
While exploring the property, he was startled by a blood-curdling, gut-wrenching scream echoing through the forest. Panic surged, and he raced back, heart-pounding, unsure what or who could be out there. The land was private, which made the scream's origin even more disturbing. He notified the owner, yet no explanation was ever discovered. To this day, the sound remains unexplained. And if that story left you uneasy, the next one might send even deeper chills down your spine. A man was fishing at Big Creek Lake in Wilmer, Alabama, when he noticed something across the water. He managed to capture a few photos. At first glance, it looked like the legendary Bigfoot, its body covered in thick fur from head to toe. But on closer look, the figure appeared more ape-like, its build similar to that of a gorilla. And unlike most Bigfoot sightings, this one seems smaller than expected. That's led many to question, was it actually a gorilla? And if so, how did it end up there? Or was it simply someone in a costume trying to prank people? Or could it have been Bigfoot after all? This photo was taken by a woman tending livestock on her Navajo property in Ganado, Arizona, after she heard strange noises. She wasn't out searching for anything, but when she followed the sound, she saw it. The Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization analyzed the photo and pointed out that the bulky, upright figure matched classic Bigfoot descriptions far too large to be someone in a costume, especially in such a remote location. Still, the image is blurry, and without physical evidence, skeptics claim it could just be a misidentified rock or shadow. Yet the mystery remains. Mark recalled hearing eerie laughter echoing outside before spotting strange movement on his property. Near the right side of the bushes, just left of a utility pole, he noticed shadowy figures shifting in the field. Watching closely, he thought he could see rapid two-legged motion. On a larger screen, it even looked like there might be 2 or 3 figures present. At first, he considered whether they could be horses, but their movements didn't match. Adding to the oddness, Mark mentioned another detail. He believed something had struck the side of his house or storm shelter, possibly rocks bouncing off the metal siding and roof. Several times he had noticed objects hitting while he was at the back of the house. He suspects the rocks may have been thrown on purpose, perhaps to test reactions, locate anyone inside, or cause a disturbance.
Hey, there's something down there. You see that in the clearing?
Oh, yeah.
In a forest clearing, a tall, dark figure appeared, its silhouette resembling a human seen running as stones landed nearby. Some believe the figure may have noticed 2 individuals filming from afar. At that distance, details remain unclear, but one thing is certain, it stood taller than an average person. This mountain has long been linked to Bigfoot sightings, and over the years, numerous photographs have surfaced. Strangely, the figures shown in these images look strikingly similar, prompting speculation that they might be part of the same group or even a single family. The idea is both chilling and captivating. Could all these encounters be related? Or are they merely random illusions in the wild? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's take a look at another Bigfoot sighting that drew attention. On September 21st, 2024, a caption claimed the original photo was taken by a woman during a hike in Northern California on New Year's Day 2020. The account Boise Bigfoot reported that she encountered a tall, hairy figure peering over a ridgeline while walking along a remote mountain trail. They analyzed the figure's height by comparing it with the surrounding landscape and estimated it to be between 7 and 8 feet tall. When zoomed in, even though the image is blurry, some facial details are still visible. The figure seems to have a cone-shaped head, a lighter face, large eyes, and a distinct nose. Skeptics suggested it might be a bear, which seems possible at first. However, its broad, muscular shoulders and pointed head differ greatly from a bear's sloping shoulders and rounded head. When comparing the two, the contrast is clear. This figure shows a more human or ape-like build, whereas a bear's anatomy does not match those traits. For many, this eliminates the bear theory. Speculation continues, with some thinking the creature could be a dogman, while others believe it's more likely a Bigfoot due to the similar body structure. What's your opinion? Share your thoughts in the comments below. One rarely discussed but chilling encounter reportedly took place around 11:03 p.m. According to the caption, a man began hearing strange noises outside his home late at night. Curious, he stepped into his backyard to investigate, looking for footprints or signs of unusual activity, but found nothing out of the ordinary. Still unsettled, he decided to check the footage from his security camera, which had been aimed directly at the yard. On replay, he was stunned to see a dark, shadowy figure sprint across the frame. The most striking detail, its eyes appeared to glow. His dog, visible in the clip, also reacted in real time, ears alert and head tracking the figure's movement. This seemed to confirm the presence was genuine, ruling out the likelihood of video manipulation. Yet the figure vanished suddenly, as though it dissolved into the night. Some believe the footage points to something paranormal. Skeptics counter. It may have been a person passing through, though that raises its own questions. Why trespass at that hour? And how to explain the glowing eyes? To this day, the homeowner has no explanation and admits he isn't eager to discover the truth. This new trail camera footage of a possible Sasquatch is currently making waves online. Captured on November 2nd, 2024 at 3:00 a.m., the incident took place in a remote wooded area near Connorsville, Indiana. The photos were submitted to the Bigfoot investigative group Rocky Mountain Sasquatch by a man named Josh Banker. Josh explained, "I went to check the trail cameras this morning, and I think I caught a freaking Sasquatch. Neighbors mentioned hearing strange, unexplained screeching noises at night coming from the woods. Honestly, I thought it was just deer outside making the dogs bark all night or something. Well, I guess I won't be going into the woods without my 40. Josh's trail camera, which is both motion and heat, activated, captured a burst of 4 images the moment a large bipedal figure entered the frame. The second shot is especially striking. The creature appears mid-motion with its arms spread wide and moving with a unique gait, unlike how a human would run. While the image quality isn't HD, the photos still offer a clear look at the figure. The being shows classic Sasquatch features: a broad, muscular build, a rounded head, long arms, thick legs, and a dense coat of long hair covering its body. Josh also shared daytime images of the area where the camera was placed to provide context. Additionally, Rocky Mountain Sasquatch reported more evidence from the same location. Researcher Jeff Adams discovered well-defined Bigfoot tracks in a nearby muddy area. The prints measured around 6 inches wide, much broader than a typical human foot, and included visible toes and other details, making them look highly realistic. Jeff and his family also claimed to have seen the creature themselves, not far from where the prints were found. They described it as a tall, dark, hairy humanoid, consistent with previous Bigfoot sightings. So what do you think? Could Bigfoot really be roaming the forests of southeastern Indiana? This evidence certainly makes it seem possible. This reported Bigfoot, or possibly Yeti encounter, originates from Lake Worth, Texas. The exact date of the photograph remains unclear, but it's widely known as the notorious Lake Worth monster. While information is limited, it's known that the image was taken by a trail camera in a secluded forested field. It depicts a creature draped in thick white bushy fur walking through the area. Its dome-shaped head and wide shoulders give it the classic Sasquatch silhouette. Notably, its left arm is unusually bulky, and the fur seems to cling tightly to its body, not just along its arms, but across its back and entire frame. Beneath the coat, the creature appears incredibly muscular. While most Bigfoot reports describe dark-colored fur, this one stands out for its pale coat, prompting speculation that it could actually be a yeti. The yeti, often called the abominable snowman, is a legendary cryptid believed to inhabit the isolated mountainous regions of the Himalayas. As one of the most enduring figures in global folklore, it's often described as a massive ape-like being shrouded in mystery and fear. Typically, it's said to walk upright, stand between 6 and 10 feet tall, and be covered in thick, shaggy fur, usually white, brown, or gray, to withstand the brutal cold. Its fur allows it to blend seamlessly into snowy terrain, while its facial structure is often described as more human-like than animalistic. The yeti's powerful build and heavy, lumbering gait distinguish it from other creatures. Sightings frequently include reports of enormous footprints, often measuring 13 to 15 inches long, cited as primary evidence of its existence. In 1921, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Howard Berry reported finding strange large tracks on the slopes of Mount Everest, attributing them to a wild creature. Likewise, in 1951, British mountaineer Eric Shipton photographed a line of huge prints in the snow images, still regarded as some of the most iconic evidence supporting the Yeti's existence. Here is Shipton's renowned photograph, still considered one of the strongest pieces of evidence suggesting the creature might be real. And now, a new Bigfoot encounter was shared on November 25, 24. According to the video's description, a rancher went to check on his brush burn pile on a remote property, but what he found was far more shocking. Back in 2005, a French-Canadian truck driver snapped a scenic photo at Seven Falls Park in Quebec. At first, nothing seemed unusual, just trees, water, and untouched nature. But days later, while flipping through the pictures, he zoomed into the bottom right corner and noticed something odd. A tall, broad figure covered in dark fur with gorilla-like features, a cone-shaped head, wide shoulders, and long arms. It even seemed to be holding something. Some believed it resembled a Bigfoot, while others thought it looked more like a dogman. Skeptics dismissed it as pareidolia, just shapes and shadows tricking the eyes. Yet when the photographer returned to the same spot, whatever he had captured was no longer there. That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.